Can you spot a fool if you were to encounter one? Do you know the signs and or the consequences of engaging with one? If not, then this is for you. We're going to be talking about the rules of engagement and how to discern those that you meet and whether they are a fool, whether they are lazy, or whether they are contentious and full of hate. The Bible is so wonderful where we get all of these examples of what to look for and pay attention, but we've got to be discerning. We've got to have our antenna up. We need to be watchful. We need to be mindful. We need to walk into every encounter with individuals with the empowerment and the wisdom of Holy Spirit. And I'm so grateful that the Lord has left us these roadmaps and these little breadcrumbs for us to follow to understand the people that we encounter and who is for us and who will take us down the pathway of destruction. So let's hop into Proverbs 26. Again, I am reading out of the New King James Version. I encourage you to read whatever version makes the most sense for you. And also compare and contrast. Use other tools like a concordance and a commentary as well from Extra Color. But really my cheat code is to ask the Holy Spirit to teach. He is a guide. He is our teacher. He is our counselor. And so before you read anything in the Word, to really ask the Lord to reveal himself to you. What does he want you to see? What does he want you to know? And then allow him to take you on that journey. So verse 1, as snow in summer and rain and harvest, so honor is not fitting for a fool. Like a fitting sparrow, like a flying swallow, so a curse without cause shall not alight. A whip for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, and a rod for the fool's back. Do not answer a fool according to his folly, lest you be like him. Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own eyes. He who sends a message by the fool, verse 5, answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own eyes. He who sends a message by the hand of a fool cuts off his own feet and drinks violence. Like the legs of the lame that hang limp is a proverb in the mouth of fools. Like one who binds a stone in a sling is he who gives honor to a fool. Like a thorn that goes into the hand of a drunkard is a proverb in the mouth of a fool. The great God who formed everything gives the fool his hire and the transgressor his wages. As a dog returns to his own vomit, so a fool repeats his folly. Do you see a man wise in his own eyes? There is more hope for a fool than for him. Verse 13, the lazy man says, there's a lion in the road, a fierce lion in the streets. As a door turns on his hinges, so does the lazy man on his bed. The lazy man buries his hand in the bowl. It wearies him to bring it back to his mouth. The lazy man is wiser in his own eyes than 7 men who can answer sensibly. Verse 17, he who passes by and meddles in a quarrel not his own is like one who takes a dog by the ears. Like a madman who throws firebrands, arrows, and death is the man who deceives his neighbor and says, I was only joking. Where there is no wood, the fire goes out. Where there is no talebearer, strife ceases. As charcoal is to burning coals and wood to fire, so is a contentious man to kindle strife. The words of a talebearer are like tasty trifles, and they go down into the inmost body. Fervent lips with a wicked heart are like earthenware covered with silver dross. He who hates disguises it with his lips and lays up deceit with him himself. For when he speaks kindly, do not believe him, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. Though his hatred is covered by deceit, his wickedness shall be revealed before the assembly. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it, and he who rolls a stone will have it roll back on him. A lying tongue hates those who are crushed by it, and a flattering mouth works ruin. And that is the end of verse 28 of chapter 26 of Proverbs. What an amazing overview of things that we should be avoiding or at least be aware of. The first section, verses 1 through 12, are talking about a fool. When you look up that word fool in the concordance, it means somebody who's arrogant, someone who is stupid, someone who is simple. and someone who is foolish, right? And so these are people who you should be able to see a mile away. And so the author goes through a number of examples of how to engage with this person, or rather how not to engage. It talks about a rod is for the back of the fool, a rod, and also gives the example of a whip for a horse and a bridle for a donkey in verse 3. Whips and bridles are for correction and direction. And so a rod, it gives the example as a rod is for the back of a fool, which means they need swift correction, they need direction, and they need it probably more regularly than a wise person. Wise people can make adjustments with words, but a fool needs actual physical correction in order to get on the right path. It also has one passage, is verse 4 and 5, which seemed a little bit confusing. I had to read it through a couple of different translations, and basically it says, don't answer a fool according to his folly, lest you also be like him. And then it also says what seems to be contradictory in the very next passage: answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own eyes. So basically what that is saying is, do not respond to a fool the way that they are reacting to you, because you would be just like him. So if a fool is coming to you in anger and bitterness and ranting and raving and screaming at the top of their lungs, you responding the exact same way is only going to escalate things. And what you should do is respond to that fool in the way that they deserve, meaning you've got to de-escalate. So if someone is shouting, you lower your voice. You do not respond. You don't take the bait to get into arguments unnecessarily. And foolish behavior comes in all sorts of ways, but you've got to have the discernment of the Lord when to be quiet, when to open your mouth, when to respond, and how to respond. And so this is just an item for us to pay attention to when we encounter people who are acting foolishly. What is the right way to respond? And it is definitely not the way that they are acting. Next, it talks about a proverb, right? You do not want to send a message through a fool, because it's just going to bring back violence to you. It's not going to go as planned. And don't waste your words. Don't waste your wisdom on a fool, because they don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to them. So be cautious with your words and how you're communicating with someone that you identify as someone who is foolish, because the words that you speak will fall on deaf ears, and also will not be carried. The weight of what you're saying will not be carried the way that you intended it to. So the Lord is cautioning us with our mouths and communication with fools. And then also pay attention to their behavior. A fool will repeat their foolishness. And so that's what passage verse 11 says: as a dog returns to his own vomit, so a fool repeats his folly. So pay attention to the signs. If you've been in fellowship with someone, watch how they act, watch what they've done in the past. And I've worked in human resources before for many, many years. And one of the things that we, in terms of recruiting and interviewing people, we ask questions about previous experiences, because previous behavior is a good indicator of what future behavior will be. So look at their fruit. What have they brought to the table? And the Lord will open your eyes. The next passage, verse 13 through 16, is talking about a lazy man. And a lot of these passages are actually repeated in previous Proverbs. So this section, Proverbs 25 and beyond, was written or combined or put together by King Hezekiah's servants. So these were obviously things that he felt really strongly about, and he wanted to collect some of the most valuable proverbs in his kingdom. And so that's what 25 and 26 and 27 and 28 are, and probably 29 through 31 as well. But these are the most important things in Hezekiah's court. And so he wanted to make sure to readdress lazy people. Lazy people avoid problems that aren't already present. So that was the verse 13 talks about. There's a lion in the road. There's a lion that's going to get me in the streets. Well, how many people can go out in a street and encounter a lion, right? You're not even a place where a lion would be. So they avoid problems that aren't actually present. They don't get out of bed. They don't want to get up and work. They don't want to get up and do. They just want to be still and to be stable. They won't feed themselves, even though they're capable. So that's verse 15, talking about the man's hand is in the bowl, but he won't even lift it to put food in his mouth. So not willing to take care of oneself because of laziness, and then also sees himself as more wise than 7 sensible men. So you can't tell them anything. They know everything. They're know-it-all. And so these are things that we should be paying attention to and how to avoid. When we start to see these signs, there should be red lights going off in your brain saying this is probably not someone that is going to be somebody I should get into fellowship with, or at least to know how to deal with them and keep people at arm's length if they are not for you. And then the end of the passage, 18 through 28, really is talking about a couple of different things, but the bulk of it is identifying what's in a person's heart, right? What is said, what is acted out does not match what is in their heart. So this is talking about a man who is full of contention and hate. People who are contentious kindle strife. And it gives the example in verse 20 about if there's no wood, the fire goes out, and when there's no talebearer, strife ceases. When you don't have fuel for the fire, if you don't have something stoking the flame will die out. So the contentious person, the person likes to stir the pot, likes to keep drama going, likes to continue to point fingers and continue to create drama. We've all seen that in our workplaces, sometimes even in our churches or organizations or in our neighborhoods. There are people that you can identify. That person likes to keep stuff stirred up. Beware of people like that. They have wickedness in their heart. It also goes down to, that he disguises his hate. He'll say sweet things. He'll say good things, but in his heart, it's full of deceit. And so we do not want to engage. Actually, verse 25, when he speaks kindly, do not believe him, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. So the Lord is saying, hey, pay attention. Even if someone is saying sweet nothings, don't believe them. Don't believe that what they are saying is true. And it immediately reminds me, when it talks about the 7 abominations, goes back to Proverbs 6, verse 16 through 19. The 6 things the Lord hates, yes, 7 are an abomination to him: a proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked plans, feet that are swift in running to evil, a false witness who speaks lies, and one who sows discord among brethren. That's exactly what we're describing in verses 18 through 28. So these are the abominations that the Lord despises. He hates. They disgust him. So when you see people operating with those kinds of attributes, these are people that the Lord is displeased with, and we should not be spending a lot of time, unless the Lord leads you to guide and counsel, to be in fellowship with people like this. Their mouth both lies and flatters with deceit. So these were some really important points, and I encourage you to spend some time with the Lord going through chapter 26, identifying areas in your life where maybe you have fallen victim to these things. Evaluate the circle of friends that you are in community with, the people that you affiliate with, the people that you partner with and have joint ventures with. The Lord is giving you a window into their hearts by paying attention to the behavior, the words that they say. Is there congruency between what they're saying and what they're living out? And the Lord wants you to beware. He wants you to know these people are not good for you. And the enemy has sown tares amongst wheat. So there are people who maybe look on the outside, but they really have been planted by the enemy to distract, to dissuade, to cause strife and division. And we need to identify who those people are so that we know how to engage, or rather how not to engage with them. So I pray that this has been a blessing to you. Please like, share, subscribe. Use the Bible as a tool. It is for you. It is for us to get to know who the Lord is, to value what he's given us in the earth, but also to understand how he wants us to operate and how he wants to engage with people around us. So please drop in the comments any specific passage that made sense to you, that resonated. If you immediately, as I was reading or as I was kind of giving some of the deeper dive, people popped in your mind, the Lord is speaking to you. Pay attention to your circle. Pay attention to those that you are in fellowship and work with. We should not be yoked with unbelievers. We should not be unequally yoked. And that's in all things. So in business, in relationships and friendships. So we need to be with people that are going the same direction. And those that are lazy, those that are contentious and have wicked hearts, and those that are fools are not going the same direction that you are. And so tread lightly. God bless you. And I will see you tomorrow for chapter 27. Have a fantastic day.